Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get together where we examine live news. Wait, I got mixed up. Good morning to Coffee and Headlines. Today is so uneventful, it's not even funny. This is probably the most uneventful broadcast we've had to date. I tried to scan the news this morning, and there's just not a lot of stuff going on that is fit for sharing here at Coffee and Headlines. Yes, there were accidents in town. Yeah, there were people that died. Yes, there were all kinds of negative stuff going on, as it happens every day. But we don't go there just because I don't know that much negativity contributes that much to our life. So today we have a couple of news items that I want to share, and I figured we'd try something completely different. For the second half of the broadcast, we will just go into wishful thinking mode, and we will be wishing for things that we miss from our previous city, things that we wish would be slightly different. I don't know. We'll just get into wishful thinking mode. But before we go, oh, and then, yes, we're going to talk about El Santuario del Taco because yesterday we ended up having so many of us went back or so many people went for the first time that it was a bona fide unofficial Coffee and Headlines gathering while we were there. I want to tell you about that because it feels good. It feels good to share good news about good places. We'll get into that in a second. But first, if this is your first time, you're joining us, you'll be severely disappointed because we don't have a lot of news to share today. What we have is a little bit of an opportunity to empower ourselves with wishful thinking and good vibes. And we'll see how we manage to do that by the end of the broadcast. But before we continue, as always, if you're new, let us know. Write the word new. We'll give you a nice little welcome. If you have something truly important that you want to share, add a cue to it. Although today, I'm going to be looking closely at all your comments just to see what everybody's thinking of in terms of wishful thinking. But first, let's dive into some news and we'll take it from there. Okay, so this is good news, I suppose, or it's important news. We announced yesterday. There you go, bigger Paco. We announced yesterday that there's going to be a Do It All campaign this coming week for booster shots for folks in their 40s and their 50s. But now it's going to be more of a do it all because apparently hospitalization in the state of Jalisco is increasing so much that they've decided to open next week's vaccination campaign to folks looking for a booster shot in their 40s, folks looking for a booster shot in their 50s, folks wishing to receive their very first ever vaccine. It'll be AstraZeneca. And for folks looking to receive a second shot of AstraZeneca. So it'll be It'll be a do it all kind of thing. As we know, this will take place between Monday and Thursday at La Lija in the Naval Hospital. So if you're looking um, for COVID shots and you fit any one of those categories, this is the time to get your prick. The other news that I found that is interesting, and it's just more of an information thing. Back in August of 2021, the city council voted to increase the rent that vendors have to pay in order to have their spot at the municipal market, at the Rio Quale market, and the rent was increased by 50%. And now the locale owners are trying to revert this law because it turned out to be they cannot afford it. Um, just for the record, according to this article, what vendors pay to have a booth at the hospital at the municipal market is about 50 pesos per square meter. I have no idea what that compares to other types of locales elsewhere, nor do I know what it takes for you to get your own booth at the municipal market. All I know is that the vendors are hoping that they don't have to pay as much rent as was authorized last year by the city council. And that's what we have for news. Simple as that. No news is good news. Let's take a look at our weather just to see what's going on for the remainder of the weekend. It wouldn't be a new Pokemon game without what? Without graphics that would have looked dated 20 years ago. Okay, whatever. It is 24 degrees, feels like 26. Humidity is at 50%, and our temperature in Fahrenheit degrees is 76. Our weather forecast for today, we can expect a clear day with a high temperature of 28, low temperature 18. Tomorrow, Sunday, it'll be a clear day with a high temperature of 29, low temperature of 17. And on Monday, another clear day with a high temperature of 29, low temperature of 15. And now, before we dive into wishful thinking mode, I want to let you know that I had to do some shopping at Costco yesterday, and a friend of mine had to do the same thing. So we figured, let's go back to this wonderful taco place. And despite the fact that they changed their Facebook to saying that they were temporarily closed, we figured if we don't go there, we'll end up going to another restaurant nearby. We got there and it was open, and we got there just at the time in which the grill was starting up around 1:30 in the afternoon. Prior to that, they were serving breakfast. And number one, we had the same wonderful tacos that we had before. Number two, we ordered baked potatoes to go again. But the wonderful part of it all is that in the process of sitting there, there were between 6 and 8 people from Coffee and Headlines that also wanted to check it out. And then we read that more people went later on in the afternoon, and it just felt good. It really felt good to do whatever one can to help a business become successful, and hopefully that'll be the case. It was really interesting because the owner, at some point, or the guy in charge, said to me, "Well, we didn't expect to get these many English-speaking people," and I said, "Whoops, well, that's partly my fault." And another interesting thing that we noticed is that halfway through our meal, the guy in charge had to run over to to La Comer rather, to buy some wine because they did not have wine in the house. They don't even have wine in their menu, but quickly they're realizing that there are a fair number of us that do enjoy our tacos with a nice glass of red wine. So it was absolutely fun. Mushi was there yesterday. It was nice to meet you and your spouse. I suppose I didn't ask, but you were in good company. And you're right. That would be a great place for a meet and greet. Oh, by the way, this time around we were curious enough to go to the second story, and yes, there is a huge room up there where one could easily schedule a birthday or a meeting or a something. Anyhow, that was yesterday. Afterwards, of course, we went over to Licks to get some wonderful ice cream, and then, of course, to Costco, which was a madhouse as usual. But after having had good tacos and good ice cream. Who cares about long lines at Costco? And this, by the way, is what we have for today's broadcast. Let me take a quick look at your comments. And while I'm looking at your comments, I woke up this morning in a wishful mode. And because there are things in our city that our city doesn't have. And I wonder what you miss from other cities that you've lived in or other places that you have called home in the past. What do you miss that you cannot find in Puerto Vallarta? Please share. There will be no judgment here. It's just things that we all miss. I miss the symphony. I always miss the symphony. And I wish there was more of an appetite here for those types of events, such that we would have that kind of offering here in Puerto Vallarta. I miss the symphony, but I know where to find it. Still, I miss it. I miss the occasional sneaky visit to Bed Bath and Beyond just to see what they sell, even though I've come to realize that most things I don't need anymore. But anyhow, those are two things that I miss from other places that I've lived in. I'm throwing that out there while I read your comments so that you can share some of the things that you miss living here in Puerto Vallarta. We start with a bunch of good mornings, as always. Let's see. Jenny is finally home. Good for you. Albert is headed to Ocho Tostadas at the Estadio for lunch today. Oh my God, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Make sure to get some Marlin tostadas if they have them, because they are really, really good. And I tried a taco contraption there that we featured in our taco map. They only have one kind of tacos, but they were really, really good. Let's see what else we have. Lots of good mornings, and this is, of course, wonderful. Gwen is counting days. Any news on the taco restaurant that was closed yesterday? Well, that's a funny thing, Dory. First of all, it is open. Secondly, I checked their Facebook page this morning, and they have yet to change their hours. Their hours still say that they're temporarily closed. You know, one has to wonder why people do this, and hopefully they'll realize this, that they're open, but they say they're not. So what can I say? Marcus went to a Santuario del Taco yesterday for breakfast. It was open and delicious. There you go. Gary comments on Diego Verdaguer. Yes, very sad news. Diego Verdaguer was a very well-known, here in Mexico, in Latin America, very well-known singer from Argentina who made his career in Mexico. Married a wonderful Argentinian woman called Amanda Miguel. They were both performers. They were one of the most successful music industry couples here in Mexico. Both very successful, both very beautiful. He was sexy as hell. And he passed away. And now it's turning out in the news that she apparently is an anti-vaxxer, which is, some people don't believe in the vaccine. And they're getting a lot of press. But yes, it is sad whenever a musical talent passes on. Absolutely. We have a new person, Troyce. Oh, what a great name. Oh my God, Troyce Fraga. My goodness, you sound like you came out of Lord of the Rings. I love that name. Well, welcome to our cluster, Troyce. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. If you have any questions or comments, let us know. Bill asks, with a Q, anything new with Nayarit governor? Nothing that I've read. Nothing new. I haven't heard any more of his shenanigans in terms of changing names and this, that, and the other. I did read somewhere that that Nayarit lifted some of the restrictions that they had, but I don't remember the specifics. Barbara ordered from Colonia Burgers last night. Wow. It's funny because whenever I walk to Costco from my home, mi casa, tu casa, I have two choices. I can walk down Francisco Villa, which is loud and noisy, and the sidewalks are not as helpful for, cripple me, at least for the time being. So I take a detour that takes me right past Colonia Burgers and all the wonderful some of the many wonderful restaurants in Versalles. The road is a little longer, but it's quiet and peaceful. So every time I walk past Colonia Burgers, I crave it. And in fact, Colonia Burgers is at that intersection where Mark has his pies, his Scottish pies. Colonia Burgers is right there. El Puerco de Oro is right there. Half a block away from it is Barrio Bistro. I mean, and half a block away from it is the Argentinian Italian place whose name escapes me right now. So it's crazy. I mean, that's Versalles. Let's see what else. Da-di-da-di-da-da. Do. Shane is new. Love this broadcast. Thank you from Canada. Shane, I am so very happy that you like it here. Welcome to Coffee and Headlines. May we continue to have information and knowledge here that you can put to good use. As always, feel free to share your questions as long as they're sexy. No, I'm just kidding. Let's see what else we have. Oh, and another one about meet and greet. In fact, I think, and I have to have a conversation with Gina from Whiskey Kitchen. She had offered to do some kind of something, and I think that might be a great place to do a little informal meet and greet so that we can taste her menu and see how her new location is working out. And of course, give her a little bit of confidence, which I'm sure she doesn't need, but she'll be happy when a bunch of people show up to try her delicious food. Let's see. Last night we went to a tasting of Kilo. It's a new margarita in a can, tequila from Jalisco. Good as it is, not as sweet as usual, available here in San Diego. Oh, San Diego. Well, we cannot get that here, but maybe one of my wishful thinking is that we could get a margarita in a can. Although I must confess, it sounds kind of like, ooh, I don't know that I would want a margarita in a can, but I think it's an interesting concept. Let's see. I love this, Ramon. I made it back to Vallarta. The first thing I did was get tacos. Well, I think that's what we all do. Catherine says, I miss IKEA. I have to relate to that. I miss IKEA. When I left Boston, IKEA had been there for a few years, and every time there was no IKEA in Boston. I don't even know if there's one today. But whenever we went to New York City or places where there was an IKEA nearby, I always tried to go. I know there's an IKEA in Mexico City, and I wouldn't mind exploring IKEA. Claudia misses the wide variety of museums in Mexico City. I hear you. I hear you. I miss museums and I miss cultural things, and that's why I've been getting so antsy lately about going back to Guadalajara. I'm really getting excited, and I'm waffling between my concern about COVID and my appetite for these kinds of things. Um, Barbara misses family and friends who cannot be here. Hope to see them sometime this year, COVID willing. I hear you, Barbara. Traveling right now is challenging, and I hear you. I have friends that have canceled a trip recently, so it is challenging. Oh, I even had a graphic that I forgot to put. Not that I can grant any wishes, but there you go. I saw this little icon, and I figured that I wish I could have wings and a wand to make everybody happy at least once in a while. Let's see what else we have. I miss the outlet stores. I miss outlet stores as well, Sharon. When I used to travel more frequently to the city of León, Guanajuato, when I had relatives living there, there is a bunch of great outlet stores there. That's the closest I've had like an experience of outlet stores since I left the United States. Oh, this is a good thing to miss. I miss Trader Joe's as well, Angelo. Talk about a nice franchise I would love to see here in Mexico. Sometimes when I read about new restaurants and new food places, I also wonder what kind of restaurants could we get here that we don't already have? Because one of the wonderful things about Puerto Vallarta is that we have such a wonderful variety of food types. I wonder if you miss food types of one kind or another from other parts of the world. Um, this might sound weird, but I miss good trash collection. No, I don't think that's weird at all. Having consistent service is good, and having well, good trash collection. You know what I missed to that effect, Jenny? When I used to live in the United States and rode my bicycle everywhere, I used to love seeing how the disposable culture was different. You would ride your bicycle through the suburbs and people would throw away such amazing things that I would find myself going back home and driving back to where I was riding with my car to pick up dressers and pieces of furniture and things like that. Here in Mexico, we don't throw things out as much. A lot of Mexicans, we recycle things. So while you miss good trash collection, I miss good trash finds. There you go. Let's see what else. I too went to Costco yesterday and everyone was in a great mood and we all laughed and chattered. You know, Betsy, I have to tell you whenever I go through the I'm glad you had that experience. Whenever I go through a cash register at Costco or La Comer or things like that, I always try to be funny, if that makes sense. Try not to be obnoxious, of course, but I try to be funny or keep things in good spirits because I can imagine working in the service industry must be really, really complicated these days, and people with all the frustration that we carry about. So I'm glad that you were able to chime in on the good mood that prevailed at Costco. That's awesome. This is a really good question. What's the best South Asian Indian place here in town? Well, as far as I know, Roland, India Gate is still open. I haven't been there in a long time, and now that I'm talking about it, I may actually give myself a little bit of a craving. But that's the only Indian place that I'm aware of here in town. If anybody else of any other places where you can get South Asian or Indian food, please share because there's always all these places opening, but it's good to know. Kathy misses hard wheat flour. I don't miss anything, at least not. At least now that I've found La Colonia Burger for my burger fix. Oh my God, La Colonia Burger. Um, I love having conversations about food with you guys because that makes me hungry. It makes me crave going back to places. Heather, who is up north right now, misses butter tarts, cheese bread with lots of cheddar and good poutine. Oh, poutin? No, that's a different thing. Poutine? Poutin? I get my poots confused, so please don't hold it against me. Um, butter tart, says Claude. I love you, Claude. Let's see. Troy's with a medieval name says, welcome for such. Thank you for such a warm welcome. It's a pleasure. Please don't hold it against me. I'm fascinated by fascinating names and surnames and last names and all that stuff. Um, let's see what else. Oh, yes, I have. Have you ever been to the food park? I don't know anything about it. Let me tell you about it, Paula. And in fact, I took a video because our dear friend Logan just moved to Puerto de Luna in the main in Francisco Medina Asensio. The food park is part of Puerto. Well, it's not part of Puerto de Luna. It is located. It's a project that was launched by Puerto de Luna because it is in their property. Food Park is a place that opened by using recycling containers, those large transportation containers, as restaurants. And you get there, it's all outdoors, and there's like a dozen different places that serve food there. For example, there's a grill house, there's a sushi place, there's a burger place, there's this, that, and the other, and there's a bar. In all these places, you walk to other places and you order from whichever place you want to order. They give you a beeper. You sit at your table, and when your food is ready, you go back to the place and you pick up your table, and it's all good. And it's wonderful right now because it is only outdoors. So it's great for this time of the year. They don't do so well in the summer months because it's hot or it's raining. But if you want a great place where you can choose to have all kinds of different food, I totally recommend Food Park. It is absolutely, absolutely wonderful. Let's see what else. Jenny says, yay, let's go to Whiskey Kitchen. I think we want to do that. We definitely want to do that. There is yes, indeed, there is a new taco place between the Pie Place and the Little Mini Super near Colonia Burgers. Just opened last week. I haven't tried it, but may tonight. I've seen that little taco place, Barbara, but I've never seen it open. So I'm just waiting to see when they will open. Let's see what else we have. Does anyone know about the French pastry baker with the little shop on Pino Suarez across from Molino de Agua? Last I heard, he was in the hospital and needed blood. I wish I could remember his name, Christy. I don't know what's going on with him, but he is or has been a wonderful baker. I certainly hope he is okay. Let's see what else we have. Da-dee-da-dee-da-da-da-da. Morning all late, but here bought bakery goodies from Raymond at Three Hens and a Rooster this morning. That's great to know that the food markets are still going on. Um, let's see. Oh, that's right. Mushi told us that that they were headed to Mezcalizal last night. It was great. Those cocktails are out of this world, and they have the P word for our Canadian friends. Love it. Um, Miss Half and Half for my morning Java. Well, Barbara, I just heard that Half and Half is back at Costco, and I know that there's friends that are going to hit me for saying that out loud, but there is Half and Half available at Costco again. My favorite wine is also available at Costco again, and I promise not to tell, but I didn't say that out loud, did I? Let's see what else we have. There is a large outlet mall south of Guadalajara. I wish I knew where. There is. Tell me more. Tell me more because I'd like to go to an outlet mall in Guadalajara, Harold. I love that. Eric says, I miss dim sum in an authentic Chinese neighborhood. The last time I had that was in Boston or maybe New York. I don't remember. But you're right. An authentic dim sum, with all due respect to what happens at Bonito Kitchen, an authentic dim sum in an authentic Chinese neighborhood is definitely something wonderful. Uh, let's see what else. Claude misses postal service. I can relate to that. I miss sending postcards and getting postcards. I used to mail myself postcards uh, whenever I traveled and I lived in the United States. And then I used to use the postcards I received for myself in decoupage projects. Let's see what else you miss. David says, I think one thing I would miss if I left Massachusetts would be fried clams. The bellies, not the strips. Well, I miss a good clam chowder, that's for sure. And that's something I very much enjoyed while living in Boston. Let's see, let's see. Do 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 do. Indian food at the Olas Altas Market on Saturday. Good to know. Thank you very much. Uh, let's see. Kathleen Mrs. Smooth roads and pristine green parks. Oh yeah, yes. I miss good roads and I miss good well kept parks. Mexico has a different culture there. There are some good parks in Mexico, but I think if there is an area where the United States, I'm not experienced with parks in Canada, but I've always very much admired and appreciated the way the conservation and preservation of parks and public areas happened in the United States. I miss that definitely. Uh, so much for keeping it nice. I love it. I miss stopping at stop signs and other drivers stopping at stop signs. Well, I suppose that is something to miss. Oh, oh no, that is sad. That is sad. And yes, it's Eric Lenoir. That was the name, and he passed away a couple of days ago. That is really sad news. Thank you for sharing, Claudia. He was a wonderful man. I didn't know him well personally, but he was a talented man. Wow, I'm sorry to hear that he passed away 2 days ago. I wonder if anybody will continue his legacy. I hope so because he was amazing. Uh, has anyone else noticed a Controy shortage? Asking for a friend. I haven't because I don't use Controy. But I'm look forward to reading any comments you may have. Um, I know what it is. I just don't know how to say it. Put. I know that one of the P's is not a good P, at least in French. So I'm staying away from from the P word. Ah. Dim sum, San Francisco Sunday morning hangover food sounds like a date to me. Let's see what else. We went by the shop on Thursday and the sign said closed until further notice. There was a heart with his name in the middle and a candle burning. Oh, that is so sad. That is so sad. Oh, thank you very much, Mushi Poutine. Yeah, I figured because Poutin doesn't sound like a very friendly thing to call someone. Um, Learned today that control isn't control. So embarrassing. I don't know the difference between one and the other. Please enlighten me. And and yes, poutine. I think I've tried poutine once or twice. Um, I don't remember if I like it or not. Anyhow, this is our wishful thinking. What else do I wish for? I wish for my arm to be back, but it will. I miss being able to crochet, and it's also temporary, but it's driving me crazy. Um, and and I miss gatherings. I miss gatherings. I've been enjoying a lot of music listening in the last few days, which makes me miss talking about music in person, which makes me miss gatherings. So that's not new. You already know that. Um, okay, so they're both. Oh, there are two different orange liqueurs. See, what do I know? Control and Control. My God, I got to do some research about that. Anyhow, it's 11 o'clock. We wish together a few things. I wish for your wishes to come true, and I wish for my wishes to come true, and I wish for good humor and good spirits all around. And I wish for a good weekend, and I wish that for you too. Um, I apologize because today was not very nutritious in terms of news, but sometimes the days are like that. I hope you enjoyed this random spree of wishful thinking. I learned a few words, and I hope you have a good weekend. I will have a mellow weekend. I'm having a lunch with some friends. Then I'm going to go to cheer Kathleen tomorrow night at the Palm because she's going to be doing her talent thing. So if you guys have nothing else to do and you want to see some local talent trying to win prizes and whatnot, you can watch them rise to the occasion in the Rise Talent competition. It takes place tomorrow evening at um, at the Palm. Maybe I'll see you there, and if not, maybe I'll see you again soon. Have a great weekend and stay cool.